Guys, man. Semen of the Piso back once again with yet another video. I know it's been a very, very long time, 3-4 months that we've been out and silent. We had to do a lot of things. We had to sort of reorganize, restructure, repower up, revitalize, rejuvenate, and now we're reborn to tell you guys a little bit of, give you guys a retelling, because just so we can follow that prefix theme and motif. I really want to talk to you guys about a little bit about spirituality. I want to talk to you guys about metaphysics. I want to talk to you guys about religion, and namely my semen retention journey and how that ties into the aforementioned 3 or 4, I forget. Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get into it right now. I've learned a lot. Obviously, I haven't turned left or right when it comes to the semen retention practice. I've been staying celibate this entire time. And I'm currently 5 months, a precipice of 5 months, so we're almost at 6 months of being celibate. So it's been very simple, but it's also been very, very interesting and enlightening for me. I've learned a lot of things. Also, a lot of interesting situations have been coming about in my life, naturally with semen retention and the magnetism thereof, of events, not necessarily people, but events. I started to read the Bible again. I grew up, for the people that don't know about me really, I grew up Roman Catholic, and I went to Sunday school, I went to Mass, and I went to Saturday school. I went to religious instructions, and we had textbooks where we're completing, pages of work, of vocabulary and who did what and who did this. But namely, leaving the church, I really only knew about a couple stories of the Bible. I only knew about Adam and Eve, the creation story. I only knew about the book of Exodus, Moses. On a basic level, we didn't even really go through a lot of Exodus, where Moses started to get helped by Aaron. Moses started to be angry at the children of Israel for worshiping other gods. We didn't really go over that. We just went over on a basic level. Red Sea parting, and the liberation of the people from Israel, from Egypt. We also did a little bit about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, right? And I didn't really understand a lot of the mysteries surrounding that. So it was only years after when I started to read the Bible, and I only read a little bit of it. But now that I guess I'm much better and much more clean, the Bible has come back into my life, and I've been getting getting through a lot of the books of the Bible, and I've been learning a lot. I've realized a lot that I didn't know before that I know now. So I'm very, very happy at this. Seriously, I understand a lot more about life. I sort of understand a little bit more about my personal path and a lot of things, and the power of semen retention and so on and so forth. So I also want to talk about how, in regard to that the semen retention practice in and of itself, practiced by individuals, is very, very, it's good for you, but it's also very, very dangerous. It could, of course, in one end, we already know the guys have been practicing semen retention for a while. Even the people that I've heard about the benefits of semen retention, and they're just starting their journeys, we know that it brings you a lot of physical force. We know that it fills you with testosterone. We know that after a long period of time, that energy gets transmuted, of course, assuming that you are not lusting, you're not looking at adult film content, there's no edging of any sort, and so the energy is just going upward. You take on a different spiritual perception, and it changes the way that you are interacted with life to some degree, or how you interact with life, and how you perceive things, and things of interest of your past start to either wither away, or depending on how objectively solid it is, it starts to fortify. And this is a lot of the things that I learned. The semen retention practice also can serve as a catalyst to religion. At least for me, it brought me back to the Bible. I thought that the practice in and of itself was powerful, and then it just strengthened me up, and I don't need to learn anything, really. I don't need to rely on anything else. When I realized that the whole reason why I got into certain things at certain times for certain reasons is because of a higher power. It's because of something completely secular from myself, very much more omniscient and omnipotent than myself. I didn't understand this before. And maybe you guys are gonna argue with me in the comment section, and that's fine, but at least in regard to my personal journey, I've learned a lot about religion and how semen retention and religion are inextricably linked, right? Let's talk a lot also about the ideas of heathenism, right? There's a huge term going around, like being a Goyim, being heathen. And of course, we heard this on the internet because I guess the Judaism faith is becoming much more shown in public, at least some aspects of it. And we are understanding that this secular group of people view everyone that does not look like them as like Goyim and less than. And I want to sort of clarify exactly what a Goyim and a heathen is, because they're one and the same term. And if you are a heathen and Goyim or not. So what a Goyim is essentially one of the outsiders. Like, it's the people, in reference to the Old Testament, it's the people of the land that God ushered Abraham and Sarah through after they got the name change, because they used to be Abram and Sarai respectively. And he said, listen, I'm going to put you into a land that is for yours to take. You must, but these are the rules. You must not worship the gods of the heathen, which is they worship the ground. They worship like the lamppost. You're not supposed to take on their things. You're not supposed to eat what the Goyim and the heathen eat. You're supposed to stick to my precepts, my statutes, my commandments, and what I tell you you're supposed to eat. You're supposed to behave how I tell you to behave. You do not behave like the heathen. You do not behave like the Goyim. That's what Goyim are. They're not necessarily outsiders of the special people per se, or the chosen people per se. What the Goyim are a group of people that behave like savages, and they do not have any control over themselves. For the people that read the book, of course, the heathen were literally people that were the chosen people, but that covenant sort of changed a little over time, the further you get in the Bible. And now I'm going to tell you contemporarily, what makes you a heathen, what makes you Goyim, is if you eat anything. You don't care about what you're putting in your body. You don't care about the alcohol. You drink alcohol. You smoke cigarettes. You do drugs. You smoke marijuana. If you're doing this stuff, that's heathen behavior. That's Goyim behavior. There is no sort of therapeutic effects that these things have on the body. They enervate the systems of the body. All of it. Bad food, processed food, marijuana, cigarettes, tobacco, alcohol, strong liquor, spirits. All of those enervate the body, and they drag the body to a grave before its time. I'm telling you, it makes you low of energy. It has you dependent on the things of the world, especially the medical system. If you partake in that kind of stuff, yes, you are heathen. Yes, you are Goyim. Now, when going back to semen retention, if you are on semen retention, if you are paying attention to what you put in your body, you're not drinking alcohol. On Friday nights and Saturday nights, you're not rushing. And it doesn't matter what culture you're from. You could be maybe African American, or you could be Eastern European, or you could be Central Asian, or you could be Southeast Asian, right? It doesn't matter where you're from. If you are not on Friday nights going out trying to sleep with a random woman that you have no idea of their bloodline, you have no idea of their mental health history, you have no idea of their chronic diseases and disorders, you have no idea of their personal habits, you have no idea about the gods that they follow, the things that they worship and hallow. If you have no idea of those aforementioned things, and you're going out on Friday and Saturday night to solely sleep with someone because of their physical beauty, yes, you are heathen. Yes, you are Goyim. And you will receive the penalties. And it's not necessarily a penalty of like a lightning strike. It is more necessarily a destruction and a withering away of your body. And of course, the attraction of bad situations and circumstance. That's essentially what Goyim are. So I sort of passionately found out about these kind of things because I'm someone that likes knowledge. I'm someone that likes understanding, and I don't really mind performing an upheaval to my entire life when it comes to doing away with friends, doing away with family members that are only hanging around, not necessarily to boost my understanding of the aforementioned topics, but they're meant to drag you down, and they're meant to hold you in place only to keep you on a certain level to prevent you from understanding these things. I have no qualms with getting rid of these types of people in order to get closer to truth. And so this is what I did. And for the last 4 or 5 months, I've stopped speaking to everyone. The only texts that I get on my phone are from the blasted Beach Webby and the Gogo Webby from Sakatville pertaining to work. That is it. Or from the people at the office that are asking me to pick up something before I come into the office. That is the only thing that I get on my phone. I don't get texts about hanging out or doing things. I've cut everyone off. Everyone. And I am not afraid, or I'm not ashamed of doing so. And in a couple of years, I'm not going to be ashamed or afraid of doing so. Again, Because if it gets me closer to a true, objective, ascendant information and understanding, I will do it a million times over. And so during this period of, because I'm still in the period now, of sort of getting rid of certain things, like I said, I got back into the Bible. I'm almost finished with the Old Testament. Old Testament said a lot of things. King Solomon is really on another level, I'm telling you. He explains, I realized that before King Solomon, there were not a lot of rules and precepts pertaining to sexual continence and sexual health. What we only heard from God was like, you're not supposed to go after, as people that are not part of the heathen, not part of the Goyim, you're not supposed to go after, you're not supposed to sleep with strange women. Solomon, even with all the things that he was blessed with by God, he still decided to do that. And then he received a lot of effects. But thanks to the wisdom that he's gained from God, he was able to do an introspective look at what the heck was happening. And then he gave us the information in Proverbs. We should be incredibly thankful to this man. Even, like I said, anyone that does any sort of personal research on self-development, like Isaac Newton and alchemy, like King Solomon and the detriments of sexual incontinence, we need to hallow these people. They are important. Read what they've wrote and understand it and put into practice immediately. That's all I'm saying. So this is a lot of the things that I've learned. I've been still at the gym. I started to do some boxing. Again, I got into martial arts once more. It's been fun. It's been fun. There's a little bit of a catharsis and a personal liberation that comes about when you are getting hit in a controlled environment. I think it's very, very good, and I've been appreciating it loads. Right? Pause. So that's these are some of the things that I've gotten into recently, you guys, since being away. I know I haven't been live streaming at all. I know I haven't dropped any videos at all, but it was really due to like personal mental health. I was going through a lot because I was essentially making this transition to this new idea, and I'm gonna explain this in another video. But yeah, that's essentially what it was. It was basically the death throes of an old self transitioning into a new way of living and a new way of understanding. That's really what it is. What it is, because I'm still in that period, like I said. So anyway, we're gonna talk a lot more in the future videos, you guys. I love you all. I hope you guys enjoy that kind of content. If you did, leave a like. Of course, comment. I want to know your guys' feedback. Has Somra gone off the deep end once again? Is he losing his grasp on reality? Or is he just sort of attaining so much energy from semen retention that he's coming into different levels of thought and different levels of vibration? Who knows? Who knows? Or maybe it's the aforementioned 3. We don't know. But let me know, guys. Let me know, man. Don't ever let this place get you down. I also wanted to tell you guys this before I conclude the video, because this is something that I've also learned on this journey recently in the last couple months. And it's going to be this. You are going to have friends. You are going to know people. You're going to get to know people. You're going to speak to people. You're going to be acquaintances with people, especially individuals that are on semen retention, or as an individual that lives on planet Earth. Right? And I'm here to tell you that the one most important lesson that you need to grasp and utilize as quickly as possible when you are in the world and getting things done, like I say, going to the supermarket, going to your doctor's appointment, going to a restaurant, so on and so forth, where any activity that requires interaction with the physical world. I'm going to tell you this. You're going to meet people that are going to try to give you advice. The world is going to try to tell you what you should be doing or how you should be doing things, and how you should, you don't need to be too strict on yourself when it comes to semen retention or any sort of disciplinary habits. And I'm going to tell you, the world mostly, and this is not an attack on the world mostly, no matter what culture they're from, are Goyim and they're heathen. What that means is that they drink alcohol excessively. They believe that that's liberation, and they believe that they're doing justice to their tradition, when in reality, the tradition is holding them back. They're smoking cigarettes and smoking marijuana. They're doing drugs, which is an enervation of the nervous system, of the digestive system, of the circulatory system, and brings you to an early grave. It doesn't matter what your forefathers have done in regards to that practice. Anything that destroys the body and separates the self from the perception of God, of the higher self, needs to be getting rid of immediately. Immediately. Most of the individuals of the world, no matter how many times they go to church, do this stuff, right? They eat processed foods and they eat unhealthily. If you do that, that's heathen and Goyim behavior. Straight up. It doesn't matter how many riches they have. It doesn't matter what kind of cars they drive. It doesn't matter what kind of friends they have. It doesn't matter how beautiful their wives are. If they are doing these things, they are heathen, they are Goyim, and they will be, I'm telling you, they will have their penalties, they will have their consequences. Do not follow their ways. Do not take after their ways. When you're gonna have a lot of these kinds of people coming into your life and giving you advice. They're gonna be telling you, you should not be doing this. You need to be going out and trying to find a wife. You need to be talking to people like this. You need to be doing this. Why are you thinking about going to Kazakhstan as an African-American male, right? There's nothing there for you. It's post-Soviet country, there's nothing there. Go to like England, go to like Spain. Don't listen to them. They have no vital energy. They have no spiritual energy. There's no connection between them and the divine. And they are speaking out of experience and out of conditioning of the world from other people that have followed in their same footsteps of excessive use of drugs, excessive use of alcohol, excessive use of cigarettes, excessive use of marijuana, and excessive eating of processed foods, no exercise. You need to separate yourself from the Goyim. Speak to them. It's fine. Yes, my son graduated from middle school yesterday. That's great. Oh, that's great. Little Nancy is going to do a study abroad program in goddamn Portugal. That's great. But when they start to give you advice on what you should do to yourself and they partake in the aforementioned behaviors, do not listen to them. Do not. You smile. You don't say that you're going to outwardly not listen to them. You don't want to scare them. You smile, you nod your head, and then you keep walking. This is the advice that I want to tell you. Guys, I love you all, and I may sound like a little crazy, I may sound like a little nutcase, but I'm telling you, and you guys know how I was. For the people that have been sticking with me since the beginning of this channel, you know how I used to behave, right? I used to accept a lot of things, or not necessarily, I used to talk to a lot of people and take on a lot of their advice, when in reality, they're people that do not practice the way. They don't know anything about the divine. They don't know anything about discipline. They don't know anything about chastening, personal chastening. They don't know anything about that. Continence, austerity measures upon the self. The individuals of the world do not practice this. Their God is materialism. Their excitement comes from buying so many things, having all these things around them, drinking, because their forefathers have done it. That is not your way. That is not. You can try to not listen to me, but you'll eventually figure it out, right? Guys, I love you all. Stay radiant. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video.